You are amazing. You've waited 2 weeks to watch this and I am so proud of you, and we're finally here. Hey magical sparks, welcome back to my channel. It's Sparkle and today I bring to you part 3 of the starting and customizing my brand new sketchbook series that I've been doing on my channel for the past 2 weeks. And today's the 3rd week, so I bring to you part 3, which is the final part, so don't worry, your wait will be worth it. But just before that, here's a little recap for anyone who's missed out on part 1 and part 2. So in part 1, we did a little pros and cons list and picked out which sketchbook to start. Then I went ahead and tried to kind of add some vinyl to the front cover of my sketchbook, which ultimately failed and I almost jeopardized the entire sketchbook. Then I kind of panicked, I kind of tried to fix it. I also looked at some new desk mats that I got, which is suddenly so random. And then we kind of just kept on customizing it. It was lots of fun. It was pretty chaotic, but in a fun way. And then part 2, which is what came out last week. I went ahead and I worked on this little section of my sketchbook. I got a bit frustrated, just a tiny bit, because of little annoying things that happened. But we overcame it. We tried out some color changing markers. We also just rearranged my desk a bit, and we did some brainstorming for the very first page. I got to pick between drawing a tiger, drawing a bunny, or drawing ice cream. A beautiful choice, isn't it? And this is essentially where we left off. And now you're all caught up. So it's time to color our rainbow tiger today and do a lot more drawing and a lot more things in my sketchbook. By the way, if you haven't already seen part 1 and 2, I would definitely recommend checking it out because those videos were genuinely so much fun to make and just funny in general. So if you check them out, I'm sure you'll have a great time drawing along with them. I'll make sure to have the playlist and the videos linked down below in the description. Also, just because you made it all the way to part 3, I'm going to tell you a little secret of mine. So I actually recorded this back in December and I'm currently doing the voiceover right now. It's like the start of January, and by the time this video comes out, which will be towards the end of January, I would actually be on vacation. So as you're watching this, I'm going to be on vacation and it's going to be lots of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little part by part series. It's fine if you didn't because I'm not sure I'm going to do this in the future because honestly, I'm not patient enough. I want to see how the final drawing looks as well, just like you guys. So I might just end up showing the finished drawing at the end of each video like I usually do. But if you actually enjoyed this part by part split up series, let me know in the comments and maybe I can make it some other time. Anyways though, that's enough talking. Enough talking about vacation, and now let's talk about Crystal. So if you haven't seen part 2, I basically became attached to this drawing and I named this beautiful tiger Crystal, and now she's one of my original characters. And this is Crystal the tiger. She's a very sweet, kind-hearted tiger. She's very peaceful. She has fairy wings that are not very proportionate to her body because I kind of ran out of room, but let's just go with that for now. And also, she loves sleeping on clouds. She's a little bit lazy, but I like to call her peaceful. Yeah, same difference. And in the last video, I was talking about how nervous I was to color in Crystal because as you can see, she does not look like one of your classic, basic, normal tigers. No offense to the normal tigers out there in the world. Crystal is clearly made up. But yeah, she is very different in terms of a color palette. So I was kind of worried about if the colors would even look good together or if they'd get kind of like muddy or just look too random and too unintentional. But I think it worked out pretty well. The truth is, it is unintentional. I did not really follow any kind of structure. I was thinking of using purple and blue for shadows and pink and green for lighter areas, kind of like highlights, but then eventually I ended up going with the concept of just being random, and I think it worked out to my advantage. And it's honestly so crazy, like when I take the time to actually plan something and be intentional about it, it doesn't end up looking as good as the times where I'm just unintentional, where I just kind of do things randomly and hope for the best. There's just something about the way that it looks so expressive and just so spontaneous that something planned can just not compare to it. And yeah, just like that, we are done. Yeah, I know, it's shocking, right? Now, that might have gone by pretty fast, but it did take me quite a long time in real life to get this done. But no matter how long I took, I loved drawing crystal, and I love how the drawing turned out as well. Now, about this back page, there is a lot of bleed through, and I'm not loving how it's looking, so let's try and do a bit of a collage or scrapbook type of thing on top of that page. Now, I love making these types of pages because it's so relaxing, it's so chill, there's no pressure, no expectations, and most importantly, you have no idea how it will actually look until you just do it. So that's the fun, that's the adventure in it. So starting it off, I picked out this random piece of pink paper that I had from 2 years ago actually that I just didn't know what to do with. So I added that as a base. And then I grabbed out the little pieces of paper that I used to swatch my color changing markers back in part 2. If you know, you know, and if you know, you're awesome. And then I just popped those on the page. I also grabbed some other tags, like there's one from my diamond painting set and one from my hoo-hoo marker set. By the way, that illustration looks so cool. And I just kind of started popping them on. And just like that, voila, we are getting somewhere, and this page is looking really nice and full, and the more crowded it looks, the more awesome. So then I just went ahead and glued them all in, and it's crazy how fast I'm running out of glue sticks. Like, I am running out of glue sticks at the speed that I would be running away from a tiger, like that quickly. It's crazy. Okay, wait, I have a better one. I am running out of glue sticks at the speed that you press the skip ad button. I think that one's more accurate. And it's not just you, it's me, it's all of us. We've all been there. Anyways, I think it's time for a change of scenery. And by that, no, I do not mean we're going outdoors because my paper would be flying in every direction. By that, I mean, let's bring the outdoors to us. So check it out. We have got a beautiful cherry blossom matte, and my nails are painted, and I'm ready to get through this. We are going to be filling in some more pages, specifically 3 more pages, before I give you the grand reveal that you have been waiting for the past 3 weeks. Wait, I just realized, what if someone's like watching this after I've posted all 3 parts? Just imagine how lucky they'd be. If that's you, you're lucky, because everyone else who watched it as I posted it had to wait 3 weeks to see all of this. Also, if you like this video, then you might like this one. This is a starting and customizing my new sketchbook video that I posted in January of 2024, and that video is almost at 2 million views. It's absolutely crazy, and you might like it. Also, if you like seeing me draw humans, then that video would be the one for you. Anyways, now what I'm working on is the page where I'm going to write down my goals. And as inspiration, I'm going to be using the sketchbook that I just showed you guys. So in that sketchbook, I made this page where I wrote the word sweet, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it, and I really regret not recording my process for that. So now it's my chance to redeem myself. So I'm going to write sketchbook goals here and kind of mimic the style that you see on the right side, but on the left side, and after 1 year. So let's see if I've improved and just how well I can make it look. This is looking very rainbowish. You'll get the reference if you saw part 1 and part 2, because I don't know why, but I'm really going with this rainbow theme this time. I am really basing a lot of the characters and pages off of the concept of rainbow, like the goals page and the rainbow tiger and everything, and I'm kind of liking it. What do you guys think? And before you tell me, I know it's not an actual rainbow, there is no red, there is no orange, but it's kind of like a pastel version that is rainbowish. You know what? When I started this sketchbook at the very beginning, I was met with some chaos, a little bit of frustration, a little bit of stress, and all those emotions. But as I began working through this sketchbook, I definitely found it to be a lot more therapeutic and a lot more relaxing as well. And I've definitely got to love that, because there was a big roller coaster of emotions from part 1 to part 3. Oh my gosh, guys, I literally forgot to write down the goals. Oh my gosh, I'm just realizing it now. And no, I'm just kidding. Did I get you though? I'm just kidding. Because the truth is, I actually did plan this out, and I did think it through, and I did not forget to write down my goals. In fact, I'm going to be writing down each goal for each section of the rainbow. Ta-da! That's the grand reveal. and don't worry, I'm gonna make it fit. I'm gonna write it accordingly. I'm gonna shrink it or stretch it based on the space that I have. And just like that, I wrote down as many goals as I needed. And now these goals, they will always be there to guide me as I work in the sketchbook. I don't have to tick them off, but if I'm ever bored or I don't know what to draw, I can always look back at these goals and try to work towards achieving them. And that's why I made most of them fun, because if my goals are fun, I'm probably going to try to achieve them. And to me, that just makes sense. And now moving on to our next page, I'm going to be using my special color changing markers for this page to write the title. And I wonder if you can guess what I'm gonna write. So what I did was I marked out 6 places for the title, basically 6 places as in 1 for each letter. And then I began drawing in some shapes because I just had this random idea and I wanted to see how it would look in real life. Which, when you think about it, is basically the entire purpose of my sketchbook, to kind of bring the ideas from my mind to real life. Yeah, philosophy. Well, anyways, what I was trying to say was I went ahead and drew a pattern of 3 shapes, and then I grabbed my color changing marker to write in the letter for each part of the title. And if you guessed what I'm gonna write correctly, that's amazing, because what I'm gonna write is testing, because this page is going to be dedicated to testing a bunch of different art supplies and art mediums in this sketchbook to see how they perform, just because this will help me get a rough idea of what works and what doesn't work before I end up using all my art supplies in a finished illustration, only to find out that actually this art supply does not work that well in this sketchbook. And as someone who has experienced this, well, very unfortunate scenario multiple times, I can very kindly advise you to do what I'm doing and try to test out your art supplies before you use them for a full illustration, especially if you're using a different brand of paper, sketchbook, or just any kind of surface that you wouldn't normally use. And with that, let me bring you to the real-time voiceover that I recorded immediately after trying these art supplies in this sketchbook, so that I could share with you my true and honest thoughts about how each of them worked. Hello, and welcome to the real-time voiceover. I have no idea how this audio is going to sound, but still, here's how it's looking. Alcohol markers do seem to work pretty well, except there is significant bleeding, but at least it didn't pass through to the other page, which is pretty nice. Well, I guess if you do more layering, it probably might, but for now it didn't, which I'm going to take as a win. Next up, we have acrylic markers. They actually worked pretty well, but personally, I like using acrylic markers on paper that has a little more texture just because of the cool effect that you can get. But this paper is pretty smooth, so you can't really achieve that with this. Next up, we've got watercolors, which really kind of speckled the second I put them on the paper. And something I'm not loving is how the speckling is kind of ghosting through to the other side. I kind of wish that wasn't happening, but I'm not sure, because looking at this over here, it says that this sketchbook is ideal for light washes of watercolor, and what I added here was very much just a light wash, so I'm not too sure what's happening there. Other than that, colored pencils worked pretty well. Highlighters worked well as well, but just a tiny concern is that if you keep on layering it again and again, you will see a little bit of ghosting, like I can see on this side, just at the top here. The anchor brush pens also worked really well on this paper, so did the Muji pens, ballpoint pens, and fine liners, as well as the Daiso brush pens. The Pentel brush pen also did work well, except there is some showed through, which I'm also not loving that, but it is quite thin, the paper, so there's only so much we can expect. And other than that, I would say that out of all the mediums, the graphite definitely works the best on this paper. I feel like since it's a sketchbook, it's obviously made for sketching. Duh. And yeah, it works really well. Even if we go back to our brainstorm page over here, please hold. Yeah, you can see the graphite just really kind of glides on the paper, and it's really easy to like blend with a blender or like a blending stump or something. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the graphite works in specific. And that's everything we've got. I am going to test out acrylics and gouache in the future, hopefully, but not today. Today I'm going to move on to the drawing process. And with that, I bring you back to the voiceover. And you heard it, folks. Those are my honest thoughts about how each art supply works in this sketchbook. And now moving on to something very exciting, we are going to be making some fan art for Moana 2. So I watched Moana in the cinemas when it came out. I think it was about end of November or like start of December-ish. And my sister got this adorable collectible cup. So we're going to be using the cup as well as these dry flowered stickers to kind of just come up with a page. So I decided to draw not Moana, but instead Pua and Hei Hei. And I know you were probably expecting me to draw a human because that's what I normally do, but today I was just feeling a little bit different and I wanted to shake things up. So instead I went ahead and drew the two adorable animal sidekicks that everyone loves. I still remember going to watch Moana and watching like Pua and really wishing that I had like a little animal friend like that. And then Mr. June came into my life, the cutest little puppy that I could ever love. And he's basically like my little Pua and little Hei Hei mixed together. He's just a cute baby. And yeah, anyways, so I kind of just freehanded the sketch of Pua. I know it doesn't look exactly like him because now that I'm looking at it, I think I should have probably kind of separated the eyes a little bit more. I also should have brought them closer to his nose, like his snout, and that would have made this drawing look a bit more proportionately correct to Pua's proportions, but it's fine. It was just a fun, simple sketch and it was pretty quick, pretty easy, and pretty fun to make. By the way, we are at the point of our video where it's time for me to announce this special emoji, except this time I have a challenge for you. If you've managed to watch this video all the way to this point without skipping or fast forwarding, firstly, thank you so much, that really means a lot to me. And secondly, if you'd like to let me know that you made it this far into the video, feel free to comment this emoji down below. And lastly, but most importantly, if you are truly spectacular, and I am going to be so impressed if you do this, if you've been watching all 3 parts of this series, comment all 3 special emojis down below. If you do, I have no words except for you are truly incredible. And also, thank you so much. But either way, even if you're just here right now watching this video, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot to me. And now back to our drawing. So for the drawing, today I decided to go ahead and do some colored line art, which usually I don't do because of how long it takes and how much planning it requires. But since I am making fan art and I know what colors I'm going to be using where, it was pretty easy. So I just picked out some nice pretty colors to do the line art and I just went straight in. And the good thing is, since Pua is mainly just white and gray, I can use colored line art and still make it look good. But with Hei Hei, I had to be just a little more specific. And now let's pick out our colors. And while we're doing that, let me tell you a crazy fact about myself that I actually haven't really told anyone before. And that is that when I got my first ever alcohol-based marker set, I hated the gray colors. And I have no idea why, because at that point, I kind of thought that gray markers were basically useless. I know this sounds a little bit harsh, but that's what I thought back then, because I thought gray markers had no purpose and that the colored markers are what matters, because if I wanted to color with gray markers, then I would just use graphite instead, right? Logically. Well, in just a couple of months after I got that marker set, I realized just how important gray markers are, because not only can you get beautiful blending and shadows and highlights, but if you're running low on your actual number of colored markers, you can use the gray marker as your base to kind of just change the saturation of each color and to get you a really cool effect with even a minimal number of markers. And gray markers are just so versatile and they can be used for so many different things. And now I love gray markers. And that's why when I was coloring Pua, I didn't go for a blended look. I went more for a painterly, abstract type of look. And I really love how it turned out, because gray is there to add tone. It's there to add value. It's there to show highlights from shadows, and it's there to define the lighting. And it is such a powerful color. Or, you know, if you don't want to call it a color, that's fine. Let me just say, it's such a powerful tone. And yeah, if you use gray markers, you can truly do a lot with it. And just like that, it took me a long time to realize that layering colored pencils on top of markers can allow you to do so much. Like, just look at the amount of shading and depth I could add to this drawing by using one cheap purple colored pencil. That's all I needed. And now, let's make this drawing even more cool, because what I thought was to add a kind of water-like effect behind the characters. So basically, you know how water is alive in the movie? Don't worry, this is not a spoiler for Moana 2, it's just part of Moana 1. So back to what I was saying. Water is alive, the ocean is alive, and I kind of wanted to have the ocean dancing behind the characters. So I grabbed out a blue Artex alcohol-based marker, and I started kind of marking out the shapes and just going over the base outline I had made with my colored pencil. And then just like that, it turned into something amazing. And I could kind of see the vision of how I wanted this to turn out, but it turned out way better than I ever could have hoped for. And also, just a fun tip, if you're ever trying to color in the ocean like this with movement, pretend it's hair, because that really helped me to kind of just get that movement in and kind of just figure out where to place each marker stroke. Once I had the base done, I went back in with my purple colored pencil to add more shading. I also used my slightly more aqua bluish alcohol-based marker. I also used an acrylic marker and my white gel pen and just a bunch of art supplies to really bring the water to life. And to help our characters in the foreground pop out and away from the background, I also outlined them with my new Pentel Sign brush pen. And it's looking so good already, but you guys are gonna have to wait just a little bit longer so that I can show you how they look in the grand reveal. And of course, I've been wanting to use these stickers since I got them about 2 years ago, and I still have not found the opportunity to use them. So I thought today, even if it doesn't make sense, I'm still gonna just use at least one sticker. And that I very successfully did. And even if this makes 0 sense in relation to the page, who cares, right? Nobody cares, it's fine. And just to finish things off, I decided to add a little quote from Moana. I think this one is from the first movie, and it's just basically really simple. I am self-taught. And I just love the situation where she says it. It's just so perfect. And now, as you can see, both of these pages have bleed through on them. So to kind of cover it up, I decided to glue both pages together, which theoretically sounds simple and easy, but in practicality and reality, it was not easy and it just did not work out. So if you're trying or thinking about doing this, I probably would not recommend it. Instead, just leave the pages be, because I had to go and fix it with tape afterwards. Anyways, it is now time for the grand reveal, and voila, here it is. We've got a beautiful front cover with an ombre rainbow, shimmery washi tape, and a gorgeous positive quote, a golden spine, and just absolute perfection. And when you open the book completely, I love how the rainbow just kind of flows together. I think that's so pretty and so beautiful. And obviously, this is shining, shimmering, and sparkling, the 3 beautiful S's. And here is the inside. Check out the first page. I am obsessed with the first page and this little scrapbook page here. They are both absolutely amazing, and I am honestly just in love with it. I love how it looks. I love the process of working on these pages, and just seeing them right now together side by side brings me so much satisfaction and so much joy. And I never would have thought that a simple first page would help me design a brand new original character. Yep, I'm talking about Crystal. And now on the next page, we have a fun little scrapbook style collage type of thing made with little pieces of paper. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You guys have been here. You've been waiting 3 weeks for this. And over here, we have our brainstorm for the very first page. Just some super quick, super rough sketches. And I still cannot believe I drew a rainbow tiger on the first page of my sketchbook. Up next, we've got a pretty pastel rainbow page dedicated to my sketchbook goals. Feel free to pause the screen and have a read if you would like to. And of course, I made sure to make my goals nice and fun. And over here, we tested out a bunch of art supplies together, and we saw what worked and what doesn't work that well. And this knowledge will definitely be very useful, and it's also quite crucial as I continue to use this sketchbook, just so that I can make sure that I am using it to its full potential. And now here is the next page, one of my favorite pages so far, which is this gorgeous drawing of Hey Hey and Poi, the two adorable cuties from Moana 2, inspired by my sister's Moana 2 collectible cup. And Hey Hey is looking as petrified as usual, Poi is looking cuter than ever, and just like that, we are done! There are so many pages left in this sketchbook. I'm curious to see what I draw, and I'm curious to see when I finish it, because right now I have no idea. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this ride, for sticking with me for 3 weeks and watching this video part by part. You guys really mean a lot to me. Anyways, magical sparks, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys all have a fabulous day. Stay awesome as always, and I'll see you in the next one.